Hi guys, Adrian the Porsche Lover. Today I'm going to answer a very common question by Porsche owners. Let's say for example, if my car is due for service in terms of duration, however, my mileage is not due yet, do I still need to service my car? Let's deep dive into the subject for today. As usual, we'll start with a wristwatch check. So my wrist today is a beautiful Digital Lecoute Reverso. This is actually the Grand Tire version, circa 1990s. So this watch design has been around for more than 90 years, stemming back to about 1930s, where a polo player actually cracked his watch. So he asked one of the watchmakers at the time to design him a watch that can withstand a polo match without cracking the glass on the front case. So what he did was that he actually came up with engine's design to actually flip the case over so that the watch is protected during polo matches. If you talk about iconic square watches, a few watches come to mind. Some of them I can name will be the Bell & Ross, the BRs, the Cartier Santos, the Cartier Tank, and last but not least, the Reverso. Alright, back to the topic at hand. A bit of backstory to a question I asked earlier. As most Malaysians would know, we have been in a state of lockdown for the past couple of months, and at the height of the lockdown, we couldn't travel more than 10 km interstate or inter-district. So imagine the cars that I have or you have would not have been driven much. Let's say for example, my Boxster, I literally live about 4 km plus away from my home to the workplace. So in the month, let's say if I work 20 days or 25 days, I will have done less than 300 km. So in a year, I have done less than 5,000 km. Porsche actually recommends for you to service the car every 15,000 km or every 2 years, whichever comes first. So in this case, let's say for example, my car, the last service date was actually more than a year, back in May 2020, and now it's already August, ending August, coming September 2021, and it's just done 5,000 km. The question is that, do I need to service my car? If you send your Porsches to an independent workshop or a specialist outside of Porsche Malaysia, most of the time they will actually recommend a service interval of every 10,000 km or 6 months using a fully synthetic oil, which is Porsche approved. So the question that comes to mind is that, do I still need to service my car with such low mileage driven on the car? Your car might even be lower than mine because I've done 5,000 km in a year plus, so yours could be 2,000 to 3,000 km. My recommendation would be, yes, please service your cars. So let me share you the reasons as to why I would recommend for you to service the car even though the mileage hasn't been due yet. First reason will be the engine oil quality. A lot of people actually assume that lower mileage equals to cleaner oil, so hence I don't need to service the car. That might not be true. Why? Is because, let's say if you take the car out for a short distance, like I mentioned earlier, Malaysia has been in a state of lockdown, we can't travel more than 10 km. Short distance trips actually damages or increases the wear and tear in the engine more than a car that's done long distance driving. So if you have more short distance trips, you're actually creating more wear and tear in the engine. You have more particle bits coming out from the engine, be it the shavings or be it the sludge from the engine oil itself. And if you have more of these contaminants in the engine oil, it will actually further increase the wear and tear in the engine. So if you don't service the car and you drive it more, it actually increases the wear and tear, and that will lead to further increased damage in the car in the long term. So that's why I would highly recommend for you to service the car. Another point, let's say for example, if you have a Boxster or a 911 which has the infamous IMS bearing issue, over the years a lot of Porsche specialists actually analyzed the reason as to why the IMS bearing fails, and one of the reasons they come up with is that prolonged service interval. So as I mentioned earlier, the reason why we don't want to prolong service interval is that there are a lot of contaminants in the engine itself, and this contaminant actually attack the IMS bearing and cause premature or accelerated wear and tear on it. So hence your IMS bearing actually fail faster if you don't service your car regularly. Of course, if your car doesn't have the IMS bearing, I will also recommend to service the car irregardless. But for IMS bearing, it's especially more so important to service the car on time and of course regularly. The last reason as to why you should service your car on time even though the mileage is not due is the preventive maintenance. When your car comes into the workshop, I would say that most of the workshops will actually do an inspection for the car to ensure that the car mechanicals are in good shape or good condition. They will check the brakes, the tires, the batteries, coolant lines, and even the brake lines. This to ensure that the car is in good running shape when you're on the road driving. Let's say for example, you're in the car, your loved ones or your family is in the car. If the car breaks down halfway you are driving, it could actually be very fatal or could be dangerous for you. So let's say if the brake jams, this is a bad thing. Or let's say, for example, if your coolant line is leaking but you don't realize it and you didn't service the car, you didn't bring it to the shop, no one notices it, and when you drive out, suddenly the coolant hose breaks, the car engine overheats, that will actually cost you a lot of money to repair the car, especially if the car needs to be overhauled, and that will actually be very bad for you. So what I will do is that I always recommend for you to service the car and to get the car inspected, so that at the end of the day the car is in good shape, you know it is in reliable condition. At the same time, yourself and your loved ones are actually safe for the car. So those are the reasons why I would recommend for you to service the car even though the mileage is not due yet. And if you have any questions, please leave in the comment section below. And at the same time, thanks for watching. Please stay safe, take care, and God bless.